You've made it this far, and now it's time to breathe a sigh of relief. The clutter that once felt insurmountable now seems more manageable, doesn't it? Decluttering isn't just about clearing space, it's also about clearing your mind and heart. Grace's journey is one that many of us can relate to, and with these harsh truths in mind, you're ready to take the first step toward a more peaceful home. Remember, the process is gradual, but every small change will bring you closer to the freedom you deserve. Start today, and watch your space and your life transform. 1. Decluttering is emotionally draining. If you've ever set out to declutter, you know the emotional toll it can take. Picture this. Margaret, a 76-year-old grandmother, had been living in the same house for over 50 years. Her attic was filled with boxes, old birthday cards, family heirlooms, and even the shoes her children wore when they were little. Every item told a story. Every knick-knack, even the simplest of things, seemed to carry the weight of a memory. For Margaret, letting go of these things felt like losing part of her life. The emotional attachment to our possessions is one of the hardest aspects of decluttering, especially for seniors. Many of the items we hold on to were once gifts from loved ones or tokens from important milestones. But here's the truth: the more we accumulate, the harder it becomes to maintain a clear, peaceful space. Here's the thing: your memories don't live in your belongings, they live in your heart and mind. So it's important to allow yourself the grace to let go. Start small. Pick one item that you feel ready to part with. Maybe it's a shirt you haven't worn in years, or a set of dishes you never use. Just one. Place it in a donation box, and feel the sense of release that comes with it. Over time, these small steps can help you build the courage to tackle bigger emotional hurdles. And if you find yourself getting overwhelmed, remember this: you don't have to do it all in one day, and it's okay to take breaks. Sometimes, emotional clutter is just as draining as physical clutter, and it takes time to sort through it all. But with each item you let go, you'll start feeling lighter, less burdened, more at peace. 2. The clutter will come back. For Joan, a 70-year-old retiree, decluttering seemed like a straightforward project. She spent an entire weekend clearing out her living room, getting rid of everything she didn't need. But a few months later, her house looked just like it did before. Boxes started to accumulate again, and shelves filled with trinkets she had forgotten about. Joan couldn't understand it. She had just decluttered, so why was the mess returning? This is the harsh reality of decluttering. It's not a one-and-done process. As we go through life, new items come in, gifts from family, new purchases, or even sentimental things that we feel we might need someday. The clutter has a sneaky way of creeping back into our lives when we least expect it. But here's a simple trick to keep the clutter at bay. Create a one-in, one-out rule. This means that for every new item you bring into your home, you must donate or discard something else. It could be as small as a pair of socks or as big as a piece of furniture. The key is to consistently stay ahead of the clutter, so it doesn't take over again. Joan, after a few attempts, finally got the hang of it. She set a reminder every month to go through her home and reassess what she needed. It's not just about getting rid of things, it's about maintaining a lifestyle that values what truly matters. This shift in perspective not only helped her stay organized, but also gave her the satisfaction of knowing that her home was always in a peaceful state. As you go through your decluttering journey, be patient with yourself. It's natural for items to accumulate, but with a little intention and consistency, your space can stay as peaceful as it should be. So let Joan's lesson be a reminder. Decluttering isn't just a task, it's a habit that needs to be nurtured. 3. You'll have to let go of things you think you need. The hardest part of decluttering, by far, is realizing that there are items in our homes that we thought we needed, but we don't. Take Lily, a 74-year-old woman who had spent years hoarding extra towels, blankets, and kitchen gadgets just in case they were needed someday. Her linen closet was bursting with things that, in reality, had been sitting unused for years. But Lily clung to them. What if a friend came over and needed a towel? Or what if the power went out and she needed that extra set of candles? For Lily, letting go of those items felt like she was setting herself up for failure. But what she realized after a long time was that holding on to all of this stuff was making her feel overwhelmed. Instead of feeling prepared, she felt trapped in a cycle of anxiety and excess. The key here is to shift your mindset. Instead of thinking that you might need something someday, ask yourself if it has truly been useful in the past year. If not, it's time to let go. Focus on the items that bring value to your daily life, whether it's a favorite blanket that keeps you cozy or a beloved piece of china you use for special occasions. For everything else, it's okay to part with it. Start with small wins. Perhaps the extra kitchen gadgets you've never touched, or the outdated magazines piling up. By making this decision, you'll free up space not only in your home, but also in your mind. As you release what no longer serves you, you'll feel more at ease in your space and your life. 4. It's harder than it looks. When it comes to decluttering, it can be so tempting to think that once you've taken the first few steps, everything will fall into place. But the truth is, as Helen, who's 72, found out, it's never quite as simple as it seems. She started with one room, a burst of energy and determination behind her. But by the time she was halfway through, the mess seemed to be getting worse instead of better. She couldn't understand it. Why wasn't it looking better yet? Helen's frustration is something many of us can relate to. It's easy to believe that once you start clearing away the clutter, things will magically fall into place. But decluttering can stir up more than just dust and forgotten knickknacks. It can trigger feelings of overwhelm. You may end up discovering things you weren't expecting, such as forgotten memories or items you didn't realize you still held on to emotionally. The hardest part, and the part that Helen eventually came to terms with, is that decluttering is not a simple, quick fix. It's a process, one that requires patience and persistence. You're going to have those moments when the mess feels like it's growing instead of shrinking. And that's okay. It's part of the journey. So what can you do? One of the best approaches is to break the task into smaller chunks. Start with just one drawer, or maybe a corner of your closet, rather than trying to tackle an entire room. Instead of diving in headfirst with a whole house plan, pick one area that feels manageable and stick to it until you're satisfied. Celebrate the small victories, because each one is a step closer to where you want to be. Helen did just that. She stopped trying to do everything at once. Instead, she gave herself permission to take breaks and focus on one small space at a time. It didn't seem like much at first, but over time she felt a sense of relief, like a weight had been lifted. Once she accepted that decluttering wasn't a one-time fix, she found her rhythm, and the clutter became much more manageable. 5. Decluttering requires more than just physical effort. Miriam, 74, had been living in her home for decades. And over time, the clutter had built up. It wasn't just piles of papers and books, it was the emotional weight of years of accumulated memories. She had boxes filled with mementos of her children's childhoods, letters from old friends, and trinkets from her travels. Each item had its own significance. So she thought, I can't possibly let these things go. But Miriam soon found that decluttering wasn't just about the physical stuff, it was about clearing out emotional space as well. What Miriam learned through her journey was that sometimes, the process of decluttering is more than just sorting through physical possessions. Often, it's about addressing the mental and emotional clutter that weighs us down. In fact, some studies show that emotional stress can actually be exacerbated by physical clutter. A cluttered environment can trigger feelings of anxiety and even contribute to feelings of being overwhelmed. In Miriam's case, letting go of some items meant letting go of certain chapters in her life. Chapters that had their own significance, but were also keeping her stuck in the past. If you're facing something similar, it's important to approach decluttering with an understanding that it's not just about stuff. It's about making room for new experiences, new memories, and peace of mind. So when you come across something that's emotionally charged, take a moment to reflect on it. What does it represent? Do you still need it in your life, or is it time to let it go? Miriam's breakthrough came when she learned to separate the memories from the physical items. While she decided to let go of some items, she found that she could still hold on to the essence of those memories in her heart. The photos of her children were enough to remind her of the love and joy she had experienced. She didn't need to hold on to every single item to honor those memories. Instead, she focused on what truly mattered and let the rest go. Alright, you've done the hard part, tackling those cluttered corners and emotional baggage. You're not just clearing space, you're making room for more peace, joy, and maybe even a little dance party in that newly decluttered living room. So what's your next move? Drop a comment and let us know your progress. We're all in this together. Keep going, you've got this.